Manufactured homes offer a fantastic path to homeownership for many people. These homes are built in a factory, under controlled conditions. This means consistent quality and often a more affordable price. But a manufactured home is only as good as its setup. The setup is the entire process of installing the home on your land. This includes preparing the site, placing the home, and most importantly, installing the foundation. A proper foundation is critical. It supports the home, keeps it level, and protects your investment for years to come. Don't ever cut corners on the foundation. It's the base for everything. The setup process for a manufactured home is a serious job. It's not just about dropping a house onto a piece of dirt. It involves careful planning and precise execution. First, the land needs to be properly graded. This ensures good drainage away from the home. Then, the foundation system is constructed. After that, the sections of the home, if it's a multi-section unit, are joined together. Utility connections for water, sewer, and electricity are then made. Finally, features like skirting, steps, and any decking are added. Every step needs to be done right to ensure the home is safe, stable, and comfortable for you and your family. The foundation carries the entire weight of your home. It anchors the structure to the ground, protecting it from wind and other forces. So, let's dig into these foundation types. A pier and beam foundation is a common method for setting up manufactured homes. It's a system that elevates the home above the ground. The process starts with concrete footings poured into the ground at specific intervals. These footings act as stable bases. On top of these footings, piers are constructed. Piers can be made from concrete blocks, steel posts, or treated wood. These piers are the vertical supports that will hold up the home. The spacing and number of piers are carefully calculated based on the home's size, weight, and design, and local building codes. Once the piers are in place and properly cured if made of concrete, steel beams or heavy wooden beams are placed on top of them. These beams run horizontally and create a strong framework. The manufactured home is then carefully positioned and lowered onto these beams. The home's chassis or steel frame rests directly on these support beams. This system creates a crawl space between the ground and the underside of the home. Leveling is a critical step in the pier and beam setup. After the home is placed on the beams, it must be perfectly leveled. Finally, the home needs to be securely anchored. Make sure your installer follows the manufacturer's guidelines and local codes to the letter. One of the biggest advantages of a pier and beam foundation is accessibility. That crawl space underneath the home isn't just empty air. It provides easy access to the home's plumbing, electrical wiring, and ductwork. If you ever need repairs or want to make upgrades, a plumber or electrician can get underneath without much trouble. This can save you a lot of money and hassle in the long run. Pier and beam foundations are also very adaptable to different types of terrain. Not every piece of land is perfectly flat. If your property has a slope or uneven ground, a pier and beam system can often be the most practical solution. The piers can be built to different heights to create a level platform for the home. Cost effectiveness can be another significant benefit, depending on the site and local labor costs. Generally, constructing a pier and beam foundation can be less expensive than excavating and building a full pit set foundation. Finally, the elevated nature of a pier and beam foundation can offer better ventilation under the home. In flood-prone areas, elevating the home on piers can also provide a degree of protection against minor flooding. While pier and beam foundations have their plus points, there are also some things you need to keep in mind. One common concern is aesthetics. Some people feel that the visible crawl space and skirting give the home a less permanent, more mobile home look. Skirting is material used to enclose the crawl space, and its quality and appearance can vary widely. The crawl space, while good for access, can also be an invitation for pests if not properly managed. Rodents, insects, and other critters might find the sheltered space under your home an attractive place to live. It's crucial to ensure the skirting is well sealed and maintained to prevent entry. Regular pest control measures might also be necessary. Additionally, if the crawl space is not properly ventilated or if there are drainage issues around the home, moisture can still accumulate. Skirting itself requires maintenance. Another consideration is the perception of permanence and stability. Section 5. Pit set foundations, getting closer to the ground. Now let's talk about pit set foundations, sometimes called recessed foundations. This method aims to give a manufactured home a more traditional, site-built appearance. As the name suggests, a pit set involves excavating an area, or a pit, where the home will be placed. The depth of this excavation is typically designed so that the finished floor level of the home is closer to the ground grade. This eliminates the visible crawl space you see with pier and beam systems, resulting in a lower profile for the home. The excavation needs to be precise and allow for proper drainage. Once the pit is excavated, a foundation system is constructed within it. This often involves pouring concrete footers and then building foundation walls, much like you'd see with a traditional home's crawl space or basement. The manufactured home is then carefully lowered and set onto these foundation walls. The home's frame rests directly on these perimeter walls, and sometimes interior supports are also used, depending on the home's design and size. This method provides a very solid and stable base for the structure. The goal of a pit set is to make the manufactured home look and feel more like a conventional house. Section 6. The benefits of a solid pit set. One of the primary advantages of a pit set foundation is the enhanced aesthetic appeal. By setting the home lower to the ground, it more closely resembles a traditional site-built home. This can be a major selling point for many buyers. There are fewer steps to enter the home, and the overall look is more integrated with the landscape. This improved curb appeal can also translate into higher property values and better resale potential. A pit set foundation generally offers increased stability and wind resistance. Because the home is set lower and often has a continuous perimeter wall, it's less exposed to high winds. The solid connection to the foundation walls provides excellent anchoring. Improved energy efficiency can be another benefit. The enclosed crawl space or basement created by a pit set foundation can be better insulated than an open crawl space under a pier and beam system. Finally, a pit set foundation often increases the perceived permanence and value of the manufactured home. Lenders and appraisers may look more favorably on a home with this type of foundation. Section 7. Points to ponder. Considerations for pit set systems. While pit set foundations offer many benefits, they also come with certain considerations. The most significant is usually the cost. Excavating a pit and constructing concrete foundation walls is generally more expensive than installing a pier and beam system. Proper drainage is absolutely critical with a pit set foundation. Because the home is set into an excavation, there's a higher risk of water accumulation around and under the foundation if drainage isn't handled correctly. Accessibility to utilities under the home can be more restricted with a pit set compared to a pier and beam system. Site suitability is another important factor. Pit set foundations are not ideal for all types of soil or locations. For instance, in areas with a very high water table or poor soil stability, excavation can be problematic and costly. Flood-prone areas might also make a pit set less advisable. Section 8. Making it real. The importance of the 433A certificate. If you own or are considering buying a manufactured home, especially in states like California, you'll likely hear about something called a 433A certificate. This document is incredibly important. Officially, it's a notice of manufactured home, mobile home, or commercial modular installation on a foundation system. What it does, in simple terms, is certify that the manufactured home has been permanently affixed to an approved foundation system. This legal step is crucial because it helps transform the manufactured home from personal property, like a vehicle, into real property, like a traditional house and the land it sits on. Why does this distinction between personal and real property matter so much? Well, it has a huge impact on financing. Most lenders prefer to provide mortgages for real property because it's seen as a more secure investment. When a manufactured home is classified as real property, it typically qualifies for standard mortgage financing, often with better interest rates and terms than chattel loans, which are used for personal property. Obtaining a 433A certificate involves meeting specific requirements. The benefits of having a 433A extend beyond financing. Section 9. Smart moves. Advice for buyers and agents on foundations. For home buyers looking at manufactured homes, understanding the foundation is paramount. When you look at listings or visit properties, make it a priority to identify the type of foundation. Is it a pier and beam system or is it a pit set? Ask the seller or their agent directly. Look for visual cues. A visible crawl space and skirting usually indicate a pier and beam setup. A home that sits low to the ground, with minimal steps, likely has a pit set. Don't be shy about asking to see documentation related to the foundation, especially any engineering reports or permits. Real estate agents also need to be knowledgeable about foundation types. This information is critical for accurately pricing the home, marketing it effectively, and guiding clients. When listing a manufactured home, clearly state the foundation type. If it has a 433A certificate, or your state's equivalent, highlight this as a major selling point. The type of foundation significantly impacts financing options. Ultimately, the right foundation setup is crucial for maximizing the potential of a manufactured home as a wealth-building asset.